China. From the misty peaks of Zhangjiajie to the bustling streets of Shanghai and the iconic Great Wall, this is one of the most fascinating and diverse countries you'll ever visit. We spent 6 weeks exploring China, and in this video, we'll share with you our top 10 favorite places to visit in China. Number 10. Zhangjiajie National Park. If there's one place in China that will leave you speechless, it's Zhangjiajie National Park, the real-life inspiration for the floating mountains in the movie Avatar. This park is home to 243 peaks and 3,000 of these towering sandstone pillars rising out of a misty valley. There's chirping birds, playful monkeys. This place is seriously epic. One of the highlights is the world's longest and highest glass bridge, where you'll feel like you're floating through a surreal landscape. For the adventurous, you can actually climb up some karst pinnacles to pagodas that offer stunning views like this one. Some routes wind through really narrow canyons and under low overhanging rocks, but there's plenty of easier trails accessible to all that lead you past rivers where families of monkeys play. Zhangjiajie National Park covers over 12,000 acres, so grab a map from your hotel and plan ahead. Cable cars, shuttle buses, and mini monorails make it easy to navigate between major viewpoints. And don't miss the 999 steps leading up to the iconic Tianmen Cave. There's elevators that make it easier to get up there as well, so don't worry. Up next, trying authentic Chinese food. If you're a foodie, China is going to blow your mind. In Beijing, you can't miss the world-famous Peking duck, crispy golden brown duck wrapped in soft pancakes, a dish once served to China's emperors. In Shanghai, the dumplings are legendary. Have them steamed or pan-fried, filled with ridiculously flavorful broth. With options ranging from street food for just $1 to upscale fine dining, in China, you're always close to an amazing meal that suits any budget. And Chinese cuisine will introduce you to flavors you've never had before, like Luzi Liangfen noodles, for example. You start with breaking up a pita flatbread into a bowl, you then hand it over, and they top it with jelly noodles, garlic, chili, mustard sauce, and sesame paste. This unusual combination creates a really refreshing, spicy dish, far from what you'll find in your local Chinese restaurant. One of our favorite experiences was Sichuan Hot Pot, a spicy, interactive meal where you dip meats and veggies into a bubbling broth laced with spicy Sichuan peppers. Our favorite part? Choosing ingredients from huge refrigerators filled with all options from tofu to prawns. Big tip, menus are rarely in English in China, and many dishes feature exotic ingredients like tripe or even chicken feet. Google Translate is your best friend in China, especially since English isn't widely spoken here. But don't let that intimidate you, it's all part of the adventure. Coming up next, Beijing. In Beijing, history isn't just in museums. It is all around you, from the grand palaces of Chinese emperors to the narrow streets of traditional Chinese neighborhoods. This mega city of 22 million people is easily worth 2 days of your time. Let's start with the most impressive site, the Forbidden City. This massive complex with 980 buildings served as the palace for 24 emperors over 500 years. As you walk through its grand halls and courtyards, you'll feel the immense power and history of what was once the world's largest and most prosperous empire. Keep in mind, you'll need to buy tickets in advance. You cannot just show up and get in. Next, explore the hutongs, traditional neighborhoods where the spirit of China truly comes alive. These narrow alleys are home to courtyard residences, shops, and restaurants serving foods you've probably never heard of, like glazed pork feet or these giant but delicate dumplings filled with rich, flavorful crab broth. Be sure to also try Old Beijing noodles, a savory dish with ground pork and onion in a slightly sweet brown sauce. It's a local favorite. For more exploration, head to Tiananmen Square, the largest public square in the world, spanning 109 acres or roughly 90 football fields. This is where Chairman Mao declared the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949, but beyond its national significance, Tiananmen Square holds a more somber place in history. Indeed, this is where the famous Tank Man photo was taken during the 1989 protests, symbolizing a powerful moment of defiance against military force. From Beijing, it's really easy to get to our next stop, and what a stop that is. The Great Wall of China. Stretching 13,000 miles or 21,000 kilometers across China, the Great Wall is one of the 7 wonders of the world. To put the size into perspective, you can stretch the Great Wall out from Los Angeles to London and back again. From Beijing, you can visit different sections of the wall. Most visitors go to the popular bustling section, which is close to Beijing and easy to access, but keep in mind it gets busy. For a quieter experience, Yinshanling is a great alternative. It's a bit further out, but offers fewer crowds and stunning views of the wall snaking through the hills. Built over 2,000 years ago, the Great Wall twists through mountains, valleys, and deserts, a powerful reminder of ancient China's strength and perseverance. Over 1 million people, including soldiers, farmers, prisoners, and laborers, helped build the wall over the centuries, a massive effort that created one of the largest structures in history. The wall is fortified by 25,000 watchtowers and fortresses designed for defense and surveillance. You can explore well-preserved sections of the wall or venture into the wilder, more rugged areas for a unique adventure. And while some thrill seekers have been known to camp on top of the wall, which, by the way, is highly illegal, we wouldn't recommend it. It's cool, but again, highly illegal. Make sure to wear comfortable shoes when you come here, bring plenty of water, and be prepared for a few steep climbs. Next on our list, riding China's famous bullet trains. Trust me, this is no ordinary train ride. China has the largest high-speed rail network in the world, stretching an impressive 45,000 kilometers or 28,000 miles across the country, and it's one of the most advanced as well. These trains can reach speeds up to 300 kilometers or 190 miles an hour. On board, you'll enjoy spacious seats, plenty of legroom, and large windows offering views of bustling cities, peaceful fields, and quaint villages, all zooming by at incredible speed. Chinese bullet trains are also the quietest trains we've ever taken, making them incredibly comfortable and peaceful. You can cover vast distances across this huge country in a fraction of the time it would take by car or bus. We've also ridden other trains in China, like multi-day sleeper trains with bunk beds stacked tree-high, and that's an adventure in itself. You'll interact more with fellow travelers, most of whom are Chinese, and that definitely adds to the experience. But if speed and comfort are what you're after, nothing compares to the bullet train. And here's the kicker, it's surprisingly affordable. You can travel on a bullet train between major cities for less than $100. Up next, Pingyao. For us, the biggest charm of China lies in its smaller, traditional towns. Places like Pingyao, where it feels like you've stepped into a time machine and landed in old-world China. Pingyao is one of the best preserved ancient towns in the country, and wandering through its streets is a fascinating experience. As you approach Pingyao, you're greeted by its impressive city walls built by the Ming and Qing dynasties. You can actually walk along the top of the wall, which gives you these incredible views of the entire town and the surrounding countryside. It's a perfect way to start your visit because it gives you a sense of just how well preserved and compact the town is. By the way, people in China aren't very used to seeing Westerners. Most travelers in China are Chinese tourists, so you may find yourself being asked for a lot of selfies and pictures, which is kind of funny. Once you're inside the walls, Pingyao's streets are lined with old courtyard houses, temples, and ancient government buildings. The whole town has this super laid-back, old-worldy vibe, and because cars aren't allowed inside, it's perfect for wandering on foot, discovering amazing local foods along the way, like this noodle shop where the noodles are handmade with just a bit of showmanship. At night, Pingyao transforms into something magical. The whole city glows with red lanterns, creating this warm, otherworldly glow. Now, one thing you don't want in China is to lose access to all the websites and apps you rely on. Because of censorship laws, the Chinese government blocks sites like YouTube, Instagram, Gmail, and even Google when you're in the country, even for foreigners. The solution? Install Surfshark VPN before you go. We used it in China and it worked perfectly. With one click, the internet thinks you're back home in a different country, so you can use everything, Gmail, Google, YouTube, just like normal. Even in your everyday life back home, Surfshark is great for unlocking Netflix libraries from other countries, but in China, you really need it. Imagine trying to check Google Maps for a restaurant and it's blocked. We've partnered with Surfshark to give you 60% off when you use the code Naik and Kim. It costs just $2 a month, about the price of a coffee, and you get 4 months free. Plus, you can try it now, risk-free, with a 7-day free trial. So don't wait until you're stuck. Download Surfshark now using the link in the description box below or scan the QR code. Next up on our list, Shanghai. Home to 24 million people, Shanghai is the biggest and most impressive city in China. It's Shanghai's iconic waterfront area, and the views are stunning. On one side, you've got all these beautiful colonial-era buildings, and on the other, the futuristic skyline of Pudong with the Oriental Pearl Tower and the Shanghai Tower. Whether you go during the day or at night, when the skyline is lit up with neon lights, this view never gets old. You can walk along the famous boardwalk or take a boat cruise on the Huangpu River for an even better view. Next, you've got to go up the Shanghai Tower. At 632 meters or over 2,000 feet tall, it's the third largest building in the world, and the views from the observation deck are just nuts. You'll get a panoramic view of the city, and on a clear day, you can see for miles. Now, if you're a foodie, you're going to love Shanghai. The city is known for its street food, and the markets are full of incredible snacks and dishes. You have to try the xiaolongbao, which are Shanghai's famous soup dumplings. They're little bites of heaven, delicate little dumplings filled with rich, flavorful soup and meat. And don't miss the French concession. This small part of the city was once run by the French, even though it was still part of China. French citizens lived and worked here, so it feels totally different from the rest of Shanghai. It's a charming area with tree-lined streets, old European-style buildings, and cute cafes. We highly recommend strolling around here for a couple hours. Up next, Fanghang. The river town of Fanghang is one of the most beautiful ancient towns in the country, and it has this magical, timeless vibe that's hard to find anywhere else. The whole town is set along the Tuo River with these traditional wooden houses built on stilts right over the water. Fanghang has been really well preserved, so you get to see how life used to be centuries ago. The narrow streets are full of traditional wooden houses, stone archways, and little shops selling all kinds of local crafts and souvenirs. You can take a boat ride on the river, which is a super relaxing way to see the town from a different angle. Gliding along the river with stilted houses lining the banks gives you this peaceful, almost surreal experience. And if you visit at night, the whole town lights up with colorful lanterns, making it feel even more magical. Fanghang is just one of those places that's perfect if you want to slow down and really soak in the beauty of an ancient town way off in the countryside of China. It's also only a couple hours from Zhangjiajie National Park. Remember the Avatar Mountains? Now moving on to Guilin and the Li River. If you're looking for one of the most beautiful natural sights in China, Guilin and the Li River have to be on your radar. It's one of those spots that almost doesn't look real. The landscapes are just that stunning. Picture these towering, misty karst mountains rising out of the water, with the Li River winding its way through them like something out of a painting. One of the best ways to really take it all in is by hopping on a boat cruise along the Li River. It's super relaxing and you get to just sit back and watch the scenery pass by. Small fishing towns, local farmers working out in their fields, all while being served some tasty Chinese food and drinks. I call that a great day. Guilin itself is also worth exploring. The city is pretty laid back compared to some of China's bigger cities, and it's surrounded by those dramatic karst formations. One of the highlights in town is Elephant Trunk Hill, which gets its name because the shape of the hill looks like an elephant dipping its trunk into the river. And then the Terakota Army. If China's rich culture is a big reason why you're visiting, definitely don't miss the Army of the Terracotta Warriors in Xi'an. I know, it's one of those super famous tourist spots, but for a good reason. This stone army, 8,000 soldiers strong, is genuinely one of the most incredible archaeological discoveries ever. So the story goes that back in 1974, some farmers were digging a well and stumbled upon these life-sized clay soldiers buried underground. Little did they know, they just uncovered part of this massive underground army that was built over 2,000 years ago to protect China's first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, in the afterlife. When you visit, the scale of this place is kind of what will blow you away. There are thousands of these terracotta soldiers, each one completely unique, different facial expressions, armor, and even hairstyles. You'll see soldiers, horses, there's chariots, generals, all lined up in battle formation. Many of them haven't even been excavated yet. You can walk around and really get up close to the warriors, which is amazing because the level of detail on each one is insane. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out on new travel guides about China.